Hi there, welcome back. We are currently on step 4 of 10 in walking through the entire pre-approval process, the 10 simple steps. And on step 4, we're going to be talking about maximizing your credit score to ensure that you can receive the best rates, pricing, and closing costs available to you. The lenders, we call this monetizing your leverage. We want to make sure that you understand how the credit score affects rates and pricing. First of all, when it affects your rates and pricing, we're talking about risk-based pricing. So if the lender has to take a higher risk on making you a loan, they are going to charge you a higher rate for taking that risk. If they take a lower risk, then they're going to be able to charge you a lower rate for taking less risk. So typically, the higher your credit score, the lower the interest rate. The lower the credit score, the higher the interest rate, and vice versa. So it's risk-based pricing. And what you need to know about the rate pricing system is it is geared on tiers. So it could be every 20, 10, 20, or 30 points higher your score goes or lower your score drops can affect having a higher or lower interest rate. I'm doing this a lot. So keep that in mind and know that this step 4, maximizing your credit score, is not just for credit challenge borrowers. This is for all consumers. If you are a consumer and your credit score is 718, then what are the chances that with a little tweaking of your credit, you could get that score to a 720 or maybe even a 740 or 760 and get a better rate and better closing costs? That's why step 4 is so important. So we want to make sure you're working with a lender that, number one, has access to a credit rapid rescore system and that is willing and able to help you maximize your credit score. A few of the things that you're going to want to take into mind when it comes to your credit score and rate pricing is I reviewed the last 100 applications that I took and pulled credit on. And out of 100, there were 10 applications and 10 credit reports that either had no room for improvement or had no credit at all. I actually had 5 consumers that had no credit at all, and we had to use alternative credit, which is for a whole nother video, see terminology section. And then I had 5 borrowers, consumers, that had no room for improvement, meaning that their credit score was as high as it could possibly go. So that leaves 90%, 90 out of 100 loan applications that I took and pulled credit shows that they had room for improvement, and we walked them through how to maximize their credit scores. So that's the importance right there. 8 out of 10 consumers had the ability to get their credit scores increased. So what you need to know about reviewing your credit when it comes to you and your lender reviewing the credit and the questions that you need to ask. Your lender's going to walk you through and answer each of these questions because the answer to the question could go one way or the other. For instance, do you have an account that you need to open? Do you have an account that you need to close? Do you have a debt that needs to be paid off? If you pay it off, is it going to improve your score or could it hurt your score? It could be either way. That's why it's so important to work with a lender that can answer those questions. Can you and should you pay that debt off? Because you may be weighing a debt to income, that if you pay a debt off, that it's going to bring your debt to income down so that you can qualify for a higher loan amount. But if you pay that same debt off, is it going to cause your credit score to drop? And so this is where your lender, your trusted lender, should walk you through those options to explain and be able to show you on paper, are you going to save more money by taking advantage of the higher credit score and a lower interest rate? Or are you going to be able to purchase more home by decreasing your debt to income, even though it could affect your credit score by a few points if you pay that debt off? Some debts, when you pay them off, there's no longer the ability to have any payment history on it. So therefore, it hurts your credit score to pay a debt off. And then another question that you may want to ask, Are you an authorized user on a credit card that you need to be removed from? It could affect your debt to income, or it could affect your credit. So it's almost like a scale that the lender's having to weigh to be able to see which way gives you the best options to take advantage of the best programs. Also, collections. Let's talk about collections for just a moment. So I have a lot of consumers that ask me about their collections, and there are some collections that when you pay those collections off, it will not improve your credit score by 1 single point. And there are some collections and some loan programs that will allow medical collections to be overlooked, especially if it was something that was beyond your control. However, there are collections that are going to have to be addressed, and those are going to be anything other than medical. When you address those collections, the lender can walk you through your options of which option's best for you. If you have a collection, should you pay it off? Should you set up a payment plan? Or should you call them and try to settle for a lesser amount and consider it paid in full? And then when they receive those documentation and that information, they're going to provide you with those options of which ones work best for you. The next thing we're going to talk about are co-signed loans. If you have co-signed with someone on a loan, have they been making enough payments now that the creditor that made that loan and you co-signed with them on, is that creditor going to be willing to now refinance that loan into just their name with no co-signer and remove you from being a co-signer? And that's going to help you with your mortgage. Or if not, are we going to be able to prove that your borrower that you co-signed with has made the last 12 months payments on time themselves and can provide us with a paper trail to prove that, so that that debt does not have to be calculated into your debt to income. So as you can see, it can get really confusing. The water can get muddy, but your lender's here to clear that way for you, to walk you through each of those options. And now I believe you should be able to have a good understanding of why it is so important to make sure to take this pre-planning process very serious. And like I said, it's never too early. So moving on, we are going to next be checking out step 5 of the 10 simple steps of getting pre-approved. And that is going to be understanding your home loan options. We're going to make sure you understand what your home loan options are. So see you at step 5.